1959. So in May of 2019, it will be 60. So we are all here working on our 60th anniversary celebration. And we have several ideas. Fran is trying to get local businesses to come up with some things we can have in May. A big Fran Thompson, yeah. A big show and tell for local businesses that kind of accentuates the history of the community. Also, I'm reminding those of you who want to be members that if you haven't already paid, our new year started June 1st, and your dues are due. And Joe, where's Joe? She's right there. She's right there. Wave your hand again, Joe. There she goes. She's our treasurer. That's the lady you pay. We need to thank Siobhan for and just as an interesting side note, we have a lady with us who used to own this house before Siobhan did. She's sitting right there at that table, which is kind of exciting. That's cool. We are having in Rosamond on the 22nd of September, the September Fest, and the Kern Antelope Historical Society will be having a table. We're going to be inside in the old, what do you call it? Community building. Thank you. And I surely could use some help. So if anyone has a little time, we're going to be there about 9 to set everything up. And we'll have displays. And Siobhan is going to make mountains, and the kids are going to find gold in their mountains. So we're going to have all kinds of little things going on. So we could really use some help. And then in October the 14th, is the Old Timers Barbecue. And it's always at the AV Fairgrounds. And the Historical Society will have a table there too. And once again, we could really use some help. So if you're interested in either of those, please let me know.
Gretchen, there's a few newsletters, leftover newsletters, that would mention some of those things too, if they wanted to look and grab one of those.
Okay, our secretary, Janet, who's also a newsletter person, says there's a few newsletters here on the table that have these things listed. Right there on the table. So please feel free to pick one up. I have just a tiny bit of sad news, and it's kind of a really bit of sad news. We had a board member, George Fisher, who was on our board for years, even before I was active. He was on our board, and he just passed away about a week and a half ago or so. I have a card, so if any of you would like to sign the card, I'd like to get it sent to the family. And I talked to his wife today. They are having his service Wednesday the 19th at Hallie Olson at 11:30. And then, you know, if any of you remember George, would like to go, you know, he was one of the dearest men that I've known in a long time. So, you know, please sign the card. And Wednesday at 11:30. His obituary should hopefully be in the AV Press this weekend, she said. Okay, so somebody is going to talk about rocks before we let Tom talk. Joe, were you going to talk about the rocks?
No, but I can make something up.
I got a demonstration.
So we were sitting around setting up for this meeting today, and somebody got to talking about this little thing that's been going around the nation for a little while. It started out as called the Kindness Rock Project, and it's where some gal lost her son to some illness, and so she started painting rocks and putting them in places for people to find and get all excited or whatever. So a lot of communities have taken that up and started doing that. And Rosamond has a group, it's called Rosamond Painted Rocks, I think it's on Facebook, which has nothing to do with the Kern Antelope Historical Society, but we got excited about it, so we thought we'd talk about it. So, and we made a rock for Tom tonight. So we'll have to give him his rock too. So we thought, you know, we'll just let you guys know because everybody says there's nothing to do in Roseman. Well, there's an Easter egg hunt. It's a rock hunt going on all the time. So just for a sample, like this is a rock, says you're out of this world. So people paint rocks and they hide them and they take a picture and they give a clue as to where it's at, and people find them and they're like, oh, that so made my day, or whatever. You know, I was having a bad day and somebody says I'm out of the world or whatever. So we just wanted to let you know it's kind of a fun thing. And there's about 15 rocks hidden around here. And she found one. So if you find a rock, so the idea behind it is if you find a rock, you can keep it, you can re-hide it, you can start painting them yourself, take a picture yourself, post it on that page going, I found this rock out at the ranch on Jeffrey's Lane or whatever, and you can do that. So it's just kind of a little fun thing. And are we giving Tom his rock now?
We can now if you want.
And then you can show him. Jane has the rock. Jane painted this. Jane painted this rock. So here's kind of a funny story. I'm in a group called RVing Rocks. So when we go camping, then we hide rocks. And so I was telling my kids about it. My son says, so let me get this right. When you're old and retired and you go camping, you sit around and paint rocks. So anyway, but this is the rock that Jane painted.
All right, Jane has the rock. Jane.
It's a guitar
Oh,
with
you
some.
give me a rock, huh?
It's a really good guitar with some gold flakes on it. So there's your
Oh, and I guess I should have also said, you know, Tom has people who have come from all over to see him. We have people from Las Vegas. There's Las Vegas. We have people from down by the border, Imperial Beach. We have people from Louisiana. There's Louisiana. Where else? Tom is a special person. Tom's
Okay, I was going to start this thing off by telling you that Rosamond made a splash at the rowing camp where we used to be, where I know most of, I beg your pardon? You see?
I know your shirt.
See, yeah, it's your shirt. I'm not sure, that's my shirt, right?
Okay, but I have a shirt like that.
Anyway, we had an entourage of Rosamondites that came to rowing camp, and yes, this was the Big Thumb Mining Company. And we turned around there, we were working on the river, we turned around, and here's this big old rock behind us, and it looked like a big thumb. And so that's how it got its name, and that's what you're looking at. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that because it's kind of memorabilia for some of the folks that were here in Rosamond that were on that trip. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, maybe if I can get this thing working.
Look who stands.
No, I'm sorry. You know what? Can't get my,
It's gone.
well, that's not a good deal, right? It's not a good deal at all.
Here and use it manually?
Huh?
You want to put it up here and we'll use it manually?
Yeah, you can
Probably.
set
I don't
some
know.
mouse.
Start at the beginning.
Get this. Well,
Where's Gail?
switch hands. Switch hands, huh? I don't know. This thing is right there. Should have checked this one out. It's okay.
You kind of need to set the mouse on a surface. It's got to be on the table.
Yeah, well.
Would that work?
I don't know. We'll get the cables on up.
You want to move this down?
Yeah, that was wonderful.
All right, we'll try it. We'll try it this way. Okay. Let me go down here.
Go to previous top.
Yeah, I know. You know, I never was much good at this stuff. how much those things help. And lost it somewhere. All right, back to square one there. Big Thumb Mining Company, like I was telling you, that represents the Rosamond's introduction to Roaring Camp and gold mining. And so the name of our program tonight is Getting Gold Ain't Easy. It's but a lot of fun and friendship, as you can see by the fact that so many people came here that I've had such a wonderful time. And anyway, I thank you all for coming out to this. It's been my pleasure to come down here. Okay. Gold digging is not a white collar job. Now, those pants right there, I had to beat them against the tree every morning in order to get them back on again. Nancy remembers that. She was there.
I remember that.
And now gold won't like you if you're good looking. So you can tell from this that I probably got more gold than Bob did. So here's a quickie on panning for gold, because everybody asks me, where does the name come from? Okay, I'm going to give you real fast. You take an old fry pan like this one that's from the earliest, it's a Sears pan from early 1900s, and the old gold miners would use that in the morning, and now come on here. Like I said, I ain't too good at this thing. In fact, I ain't good at all. Now let me go back to the panning business. The pan is, you put some little lead weights in it, swirl it around underwater, and voila, you'll have your gold. So one of the things that we did do a lot of was gold panning up on the river, and it made things pretty easy for you once you start into it. You do the gold panning to start with, and then later on you move into more advanced places. And one of the things that they have at Roaring Camp is a mine, a tunnel that goes back into the hill. And one of the things that a lot of the people there at camp will dig gold right there. And we did that for 3 years ourselves. Now, and a lady asked me one time, she says, how deep is that tunnel? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I was in there with Bob Scruggs 3 years ago. And we were back in there quite a ways, and a rock fell out of the ceiling. And it took me 12.5 seconds to get out of there. So I can tell you for sure it's 12.5 seconds deep. And here's a little bit of the gold that we got from Caesar, digging over 3 years. The first 3 years we were there, I did a lot of work at Caesar's, and this is some of the gold we got out of that. Now, the small gold, I'm not showing you that. And one thing you got to understand about gold is 95% of the gold that's in the ground around here in the Tropico in the state is all fine gold, it's micro gold. So the 5% that isn't fine gold is pieces that you get like this, so they become very desirable as you know, for jewelry and so forth. So usually the golden nuggets and so forth is worth quite a bit more than your regular fine gold. And today, of course, your fine gold is what, about $1,300 or something like that an ounce. So, okay, when you first get started into gold mining, you say, well, now, where can I find some gold on the river? Well, if you haven't got any equipment, then the thing you do is you do crevice hunting. Crevice hunting is when you go on the river and you locate the downstream side of boulders and so forth, and you look for cracks there, because the way that gold travels on the river, it goes over the boulders and stops on the backside. And we're going to show you a demonstration after this yapping is over with about how we process gold. We got Fran's going to do a little demonstration out there for you, and we've got a little setup there. And we're going to show you some real gold and how it actually acts in the water. Okay, so here's a place right here where I thought, well, we can get some gold out of this area. And one of the things that always tells you what's going on in the river is a grind hole. Now you see that grind hole there. When the water's swirling, and I'm talking about when the water now is 20 or 30 feet deep in these canyons, a rock will fall out of the stream, and it'll be in the center of the swirl. It'll run around and around and around until it wears itself out against another rock. Then another one takes its place, and another one takes its place, and over hundreds of years you got a hole like that. But the thing that's important here is that hole tells you that this is where the gold drops out to. It also, this is where your gold's going to be dropping along with the rocks. So this is where you work. So I found this crevice right here on the downstream side of this boulder and cleaned it out, and you can see that little gold pan over there, some of the gold that I was getting out of it. And this is what it looked like. It's a great payday for crevice cleaning. You get a couple of nice little chips and so forth. And that's a tenth of an ounce, okay? Tenth of an ounce at what, $1,300, all right? So you can do the math. All right, good friend Rick, right here. He didn't know I was going to do this. Right here. He's from San Diego, and here he is working his high banker. Now he built this one himself, and the idea here is to pump water up on the bank and run it through a sluice box, and then you got to dig the dirt, classify it, take out the big rock, dump it in your sluice. And here's Fran telling him how to do it. Anyway, you can see the hopper and the dirt that he's pouring into the hopper. That takes out the bigger gravel, and the smaller gold and the rest of the small gravel travel down through the sluice box. And like I said, we're going to show you and give you a demonstration of that right after the talk is over. And this is Rick's gold. Now he's working on the bank, and this is the type of gold he was getting out of that dirt there on the side of the river. When you process gold that's high bank, they call it high banking because you're taking it out of the high banks on the side of the river. And in this case, it's all flakes and small stuff, but nevertheless, if you work hard like he did, then you get a significant amount of gold. Okay, dredging. What's a dredge? Well, never seen a dredge, probably. Okay, this is the dredge does two things here now. That motor you see on it is a 5-horse Honda motor, but it's pumping a significant amount of water into this 3-inch column. It's called a venturi right at the coming into the front end of the box. And what it does is generates a vacuum on the other end of the hose. Now you got to be down on the other end of the hose and using that hose in order to pick up the material from the bottom of the river, bring it up to the surface, and run it through the sluice box in order to get the gold out of it. And that's what a dredge does. But it also provides you a certain amount of air, breathing air you need. Fran knows you need that. So here she is now, this is a monster from Blue Lagoon. She's rigging up to go take a jump in the river. Okay, so, and I always ask her, I said, what are you doing up here to go down there? This is when she's taking a break. And all that, she only been down there for 2 hours. I mean, come on now. But anyway, here she is now. She says, okay, you step back and go down. Now listen, she can't swim a lick. She's like a rock, you know. She goes right the minute she gets out there. So, but everybody says, well, how come you're working down in the river and you can't swim? She says, well, I walk in and out of the river, you know. So, and that's true. Okay, here she is down at 9 feet. Now you got to understand that there's a lot of work involved in doing this, especially for me. That box of rocks she's got there, somebody's got to pull it out of there, right? Okay, so that's me. I got to pull it out, dump it, and get it back down to her. So all the rocks that you can't suck up in that little white hose there that she got there, the 3-inch hose. She has to hand pick those and put them out. Nancy Long here, she's a good dredger, and so is Rick, and we've had, well, we know 1,000 people, that do this gold mining. And anyway, I want you to notice the air bubbles right now. These are very, very important, and the reason for it is that I had to put a Rube Goldberg thing together that would just work off of one motor. So I had a 10-horse motor, and I was running her air, and I was running air for a couple other operations, and water and so forth. And she's down at 9 feet, and she didn't get any air. I was sitting up there on, waiting to do my hard job, and I'm always the guy. I'm the tender of the dredge. I've got to be the guy that makes sure that any gold that comes up stays in the dredge, right? Not really. But anyway, she's down there and no air. Well, now we just bought this $100 weight belt. I mean, I'm really a good guy. I'm treating her really nice. We bought this $100 weight belt with it. It had little buckshots and packets and stuff that grew all the way around it. And she used about 50 pounds to keep her on the bottom. See, I mean, even though she floats like a rock, she still needs weight to get her down. So anyway, she's out of air and she's down 9 feet. And she's thinking, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get. And she's wearing the full face mask. And but she didn't panic. She took the weight belt off. She knew she had to have it. The problem was she didn't want to leave the weight belt down there. If she didn't let go of the weight belt, she wasn't going to even need one. So finally, she laid it up on a sidewall and popped to the surface, and she's up there. And that's when I said, "What are you doing up here?" And she jerked at me, and I'm not sure if they threw it at me or not. But anyway, anyway, this is for one summer's work up there where she was working. We got a little over 2 ounces of dredging, for the summer. This is some of the gold around here, and none of the small stuff is in there. I'll show you some of that later. But anyway, here's a new project. This was all. I mean, it was absolutely. I mean, I researched this river bank. Let me tell you, and I found an outcrop of bedrock. And bedrock is where gold always stops. That's the crust of the earth, so to speak. And I found this outcrop of bedrock. And Fran says, "Well, we'll set the dredge up over there and we'll work on that, even though it's got a lot of rocks around it." But we said, "Well, yeah, we can move it on." So we went over there one day and we set it up. And dang, man, she wasn't working more than, I bet you, 15, 20 minutes dredging. Then she comes up with a little bitty old nugget like this, man. I said, "Hot dog, boy, we're right where we need to be." So we anticipated going back the next day and really getting with it, going down, pulling rocks, getting down in the bottom. And we went back the next day, and our dredge, along with everybody else's, was sitting in the dirt. The river had closed the dam or something, and here's our dredge sitting out there. And now we're stuck with summer water. And you can see the only water we're getting is down in the bottom there in the right-hand corner. So I said, "All right, what we'll do," and here's the bedrock, and you see where it is now. It ain't underwater by no way. And here we are standing there looking at it and going, "Hey, there's gold right here. We've got some of it. It's got to be a good drop zone." So here we go. I said, "All right, well, let's see if we can bring the water in here to us so we can do, well, we had a few rocks to pull. You can see the size of that rock right there. We were dragging it out of the way. And here's the river, and there's the water, but it's about 100 feet away. And but by August that year, we had pulled the rocks out, brought the river in all the way to this cut that you see right here. But we couldn't finish it, so, and we hadn't really found a lot of gold. We hadn't even been pleased with anything that we'd done except move rocks. If I was bragging about moving rocks, yeah, we did a great job there. Okay, so next year, here we go. We got back into that, and we brought that water into this hole where that little bedrock outcrop was over here on the side. And if you look at the water underneath, you see there's a rib going around the corner right there at that bedrock. If I can stand up without blowing this thing all to pieces again. But anyway, this is your bedrock here, and right down here, about 3.5 feet down, there was a rib coming around here. This piece of bedrock went all the way around the other side, and then underneath another 1 million tons of rock. Anyway, we cleaned this all out, and there's what we got.
Wow.
This was a little over 3/4 of an ounce here, and we got this other gold with it. So you're looking at what she called a pack rat nugget, because it kind of looked like the head of a pack rat. So, and before it even got dry, she already had it baled and hanging around her neck. So you know, anyway. And now, once again, here's an easy job for Fran. You know, I always give her. I mean, I spent most of my time making sure she has an easy job, right? So this is called the Mama John. I gave it that name. It was not an outhouse for Fran. No. It was for moving boulders. We took this thing you see here is called a grip hoist, and what it normally does, you got a 4-foot arm on it up here that you have to pump, and it gives you about 2 inches of movement of a boulder for each one of the pumps you make on it. And when we were moving big boulders early on, both of us had to get on that arm sometimes in order to get it working. So I rigged it up with air from the dredge and put a ram on it one winter. I says, man, I'm really making it easy. So now Fran can sit in the shade. Sit in the shade. All she got to do is wave that little thing right back here and change the air, and it pumps both directions. And we've moved some rocks with that. Let me tell you, that was a great operation. The only thing she didn't like about it, she says, you know, I'm sitting out here and sometimes I'm in the sunlight. Is there any way you can hook a fan to that thing so we can... I said, well, you know, we ain't gonna do that. Not this time. Anyway, here's some of the rocks that we move with that. You can get some idea.
Whoa.
We move these about 35 feet to clear the dredge hole so we can get down in there without any danger of one of the things coming in on top of us. Okay, so this Don Miller, good friend of mine from Santa Barbara, come into camp, and he saw Fran's big gold. She has some nice big nuggets. And he's asking us, well, how did you go about getting them? I say, well, you got to move a big rock. You got to move a big boulder, get on the bottom, and you'll find the big gold. And he says, well, Tom, where's the biggest rock in the river that has not been moved? And I said, right here it is. I said, it's about 12 feet high at that point, you know, from the bedrock it was on. And it's right by the cabin Bonanza. I think John knows about that. He was up there. And anyway, I told him, I said, yeah, there it hasn't been moved. He said, well, would you give me a hand in moving that thing? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, let me offer you my assistance. Anyway, here it is. We rigged it up with this rigging and so forth, and here it is being pulled over. Here's the arm on that grip hoist I was telling you about. So anyway, we got it rigged up, and now it's pulled. We're pulling it over right here. It's rigged up, and it's coming over on the bottom. I had him clean out all around it first, pull all the boulders away from underneath it that were right here. These on the side, and we got it down to there it is. Now it's laying over on the side. The dark side is now down on the bedrock, and here's what it looks like. So, and that's your hard-working engineer standing over here, you know. anyway, here you are with the rock up in the air. So now it's time. And Don went in there with his dredge behind us. We kept it rigged up because I wanted to make sure it was safe. But on the it was sitting on bedrock now. We had pulled all the rocks out from under it, so when it tipped over, the whole bottom end was exposed. He says, man, I'm gonna get in there now. I get rich. You know, I gotta pick up all this here gold. It's gotta be because it's the biggest rock around here. And there's what he got. He got about ½ ounce. He didn't get any big nuggets. He's got a lot of, but he had a lot of fun. And the biggest rock in the rowing camp had been moved. Okay, so now I want to talk about the whiz banger. Okay, this is one of my Rube Goldberg things. You know, give a lazy man an easy job, or a hard job rather. I guess that he'll find an easy way to do it. That's me. So I built this thing called whiz bang, and there's a long story about how we put this thing together. But anyhow, Nancy used one. She and Chet. But anyway, this thing pumps water up through the fire hose into your venturi here. This thing, and you develop a suction right here on the end of this. So what you do is you take this other fire hose with a flusher nozzle, and you slurry the material in a hole, and then suck it up with this over into the sluice box. There you go. It was that simple. And the reason I built it was because I do not like cold water. Anyway, that was the main reason I built the thing. But anyhow, I'm going to show you some of the operations with it. The first year that I used this is the junction of two rivers. There's another river coming in over here, and there's this is what they call the South Fork, the North Fork, coming in over here. This is a huge column of rock. Now, one of the things that's important here, the old timers that were coal miners couldn't read or write. Okay, so when I started looking at the gold mine, and I'm looking for something that somebody has written about how to do this, what's the easiest way to do this, forget it. There's no books written out there. I mean, there's modern books, modern techniques, dredging and so forth, but there were no books available written by the old timers because none of them could read or write. So I did find out that John Dole was in that canyon in 1853, and he sent a bunch of letters back to his gal friend back east, and he wrote sort of like a diary. And after he passed, of course, they got sent, accumulated all these, put them in a book. And he told me, or he said in his book, I read the thing 4 times because I didn't want to miss anything. But anyway, down here 300 feet below this column of rock was his claim. And I probably got more gold off of it than he did. But it really wasn't the greatest in the world. But anyhow, the reason I'm talking about this with the whiz bang is I saw that if you look at this is almost like riffles in a box. There's got to be some gold in there. So anyway, we went down and took a look at it, and I wanted to show you. I was digging a hole out here to get this. I had found this big slab right here. They call that float, and you can imagine that floating? No way. But that's what they call it float, because when the water is 30 feet deep and pouring down that canyon, it moves rocks that size. And then what it did is it hung up on this ledge. And I said, well, if it hung on the ledge, that means the gold hung here too. So I decided I'm going to dig me a hole, right along the face of this ridge of the thing, and see how we did. So anyway, here it is, digging it away. I'm getting down, getting down around it. Here's the seam of rock that goes all the way up to the upper end and all the way down into the river on this end. So on this particular day, I'm getting a little bit deeper, and then I'm down to this. You can see I'm about 5 feet down now, and and there's a ledge down underneath that we're like a stair step. And I picked up a small rock one about the size of this one right here. Picked it up off the bottom. I was down in the hole, and here's 22 pennyweight of gold. It's a little over, that's an ounce, 1/10 ounces of gold. And then a handful of gold. I said, man, well, we went ahead and worked some more upriver and downriver, taking what gold we could out of that. And this was called September Island Operation. And here's the 3 ounces of gold that we got out of that operation. So that was one of the whiz-bang operations. Now, I've got a picture here of black sand, right here. All this black sand. Now, Rick will tell you that I pointed it out to him when they first came into camp and I said, I want to show you that black sand. So he and his partner went in there and boom. They picked up gold almost every day they were there. Black sand is one of the main indicators of gold because black sand runs about 5 to 7 and you're looking. Here we go. This is an operation I want to show you. This is up at Quincy now. The river comes around, swings over here and comes all the way around. And we were up there and didn't know nothing about this river. But we went up there for a couple of weeks with a friend of ours, and we were looking for a place to dig. And I walked across this, and I said, now, what's all these big rocks doing laying right here? How come they all stop here? Why didn't they stop over here? Why didn't they stop over there? And why are they laying right here? Well, it's always pretty obvious that when the big rocks stop, there's something holding them up. So we went downstream a little ways and we found this rib of bedrock right here. And the bedrock had surfaced underneath those boulders up there and held it up. So we got down here and started cutting this stuff down, and looking lo and behold, we found the crevice right here. Now this is one of the picture book things that you're looking for. There's Fran. I'll give her an easy job again. She's holding the water up. But anyway, you slurry the material and suck it out of there to your sluice box with this item, and you can see right now that you can get an idea how it works. Okay, here's the bottom of the hole. Okay, this is a picture book crevice almost for looking for gold. I mean, you just don't run into these all the time. So I think, man, we're going to get some gold out of this thing. Well, like I said, picture book crevice for gold drop, right? Okay, great, wonderful. But we found rusty hardware laying on the bottom, and that's bad news. The bad news is that at some point in time, some other old timers opened up that crevice, and then when the river brought junk down, nails and whatever else, some of it stayed in there. So when you find rusty stuff on the bottom, forget it. Sorry about that. You'll find small gold, but the big gold's already gone. Okay, here's what the small gold looks like. You can see the little flakes of it around here. That was right off the bottom. But we went ahead and worked it out some, and here's what we got. Now that's 3 pennyweight. That's 1.5 of an ounce, and you can see it's rusty. It's got a lot of rust in it and stuff. But we didn't get any big pieces because, like I said, the old timers done beat us to it. Okay, now I'm going to go to your next Rube Goldberg thing called a pygmy, pneumatically improvised gold mining implement. All right, now it works off air pressure. Okay, the motor weighs 27 pounds, and then you got the hose, and you got this box. And when you're out in a dry area, and where you got a tremendous number of old dry rivers now around California, and all of them are gold bearing. I've got an air hammer right here, and a suction device here. You turn on your motor and pump up the hose up to, you get about 70 to 90 psi pressure on that hose. And so when you trigger this thing, it sucks up the material that'll fit in the nozzle right here. It's a 1/2-inch nozzle. So the idea here is to be able to open up crevices in rock with a little air hammer right here. See, pop it up, and then take this unit right here and suck the material up. And here's your transport hose going out here. The box that it goes into right here. This is a genuine $6 toolbox. Sort of modified to do the job. But I set it up so that when you put 90 psi behind a rock, you've got a rifle, you know. So you've got to be able to capture this stuff. I'll talk about that a little bit more. But right here is how you do this. It's got vents holes right here, so anything you blow in here is going to, the air pressure is going to come out on the other end, so you won't lose nothing. You could keep that box closed. All right, so here we go. This is the operation. The reason I want to show you this picture, this is full picture showing you where the box is, where the air hammer is, and where the suction device is right up here. This crevice right here and the one over here were very productive. We got some nice gold out of those. And here it is. This is little chips and pieces. And the fine gold's not there because we process it in a different manner. Okay, I took this design of this unit and put it in the mining journal last August. And I give them directions on how to build this thing and give them a drawing on how to build this suction device. And as soon as that magazine came out, I had calls from Georgia, New England, Wyoming, Montana, Canada, and a dozen from California. And then here just 2 months ago, I get a message from a guy in Australia. He wants to build one of these things. So we communicated via email back and forth, and I helped him put it all together. He's got one built now, and he's supposed to be letting me know how he does with it. So this is some of the gold I got with that. But anyway, that's I've been writing for this magazine now for about 10 years. Okay, and I want to tell you this: when you talk about the 10 years that I've been writing for, I make more money writing for the magazine than okay. All right, here's another easy job I got from Fran. Now, we were out hiking up on the hills one morning, and we found a big deposit of black sand. And I said, man, what's all this black sand doing up here? It's got to be a reason. So I went and talked to a couple of old timers that were around, and they told me that there used to be a big mill site up there, but the Forestry Service came in there about 1970 and run them out. Said they didn't have the right permits and they didn't have the right, permission to be in there. So they told me, you just got a couple days to get out of it. We're going to confiscate all your stuff. So they tore everything down. They dumped they had a big long sluice box full of black sand. They dumped it all on the top of this mountain. I said, hot dog. So I went up there and said, Fran. I said, boy, let me tell you, we can get some of that dirt and take it down the river. Well, unfortunately, like I said, the black sand weighs about 7 times what water does, and a 5-gallon bucket is 40-something pounds, okay? So when you multiply that by 7, Fran might need a little help to get it down to the river. So anyway, we put together a pump and hose operation around 300 feet of garden hose down to my pump in the river and brought it up here on top. And see, I got the hard job again. See, I gotta I got to put this stuff on and run. And what we found out about the black sand was that a lot of the gold was fine and a lot of it was thin flakes, and it ran right on top of the black sand, came right on out of the box. Now, that's not a good deal. So had to figure out a different way to do that. So here is a thing called a blue bowl. This thing here is a bowl. The water comes in now here. You put a jet of water in on the bottom, and it causes this water to swirl like this. And this has got a cone shape in the middle, and this black sand comes up to the top and goes down this hole. You put a bucket underneath it to to capture it, and you use a recirculating pump because you don't want the whole backyard full of water. So, like the first time I used it. All right. anyway, here you can start. You can begin to see the black sand disappearing and the gold showing up. Okay. And then we get on to, here we are down to the end. You can see the water swirling right here, and here's your gold. Okay, we take all this gold out, and then put that in a vial because that's good stuff. That's this stuff you'll run now somewhere around 30th of an ounce, 40th of an ounce, something like. Or not an ounce. I'm sorry. Size-wise, it's small stuff. But anyway, when I'm done with that, I'll take the bucket of black sand out from under it and run it again. Now this time I'm putting 4 ounces of mercury in there with it. Everybody said, "Well, you're crazy." But I said, "Let me show you something. Here's a picture. Guess what? Here's your gold right here. Fine gold, real flour gold, captured in the mercury. So now I gotta get that gold out of that mercury, and they've got the environmental people have put taboo on this because that stuff will kill you. Mercury is pretty dangerous, but so is this automobile. If you don't know how to drive, okay? So if you don't know how to use, mercury shouldn't be doing that. Like stay from behind the wheel, right? Okay. So here's the amalgam that comes out when you take the liquid mercury off. I found out that you could take and drain the mercury off of the amalgam and take the liquid mercury with a syringe, and here's my liquid mercury here. Now this is like mushy stuff up here. Now that I need to cook down. I need to get the mercury off my gold so I can process the gold. So here's what I did. All right, another one of them Rube Goldberg things. I told you, so give me a hard job, I'm gonna figure out an easy way to do it. And here it is. It's called the Angel Rex retort unit. It's a cake pan, an angel food cake pan, and a little 2-ounce stainless steel condiment cup like you buy at Walmart for $2. And then you got a Pyrex bowl right here. And I fill this thing up with sand, take a glass of water and pour it around the outside. But I put my amalgam in here to start with in the center. Then I fire it up with one little bottle of propane, and 20 minutes later, folks, I got my gold. And I'll show you that. There it is. That's a 5-ounce bottle, so you're looking at a good ounce of gold in there. Okay? So that's the process we used at that point, all the way up to, I showed you how we get the black sand, how we get the other gold, how we dredge, how we move rocks. And this is some of the stuff that we did on the river. This is Jack Miller from
And this big Mike.
You gotta, he says, old Mike says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He says, "I'm shooting mosquitoes." He's got to be a gold miner talking like that. Okay, and this is Fran. She keeps miners in line this way. She just grabbed him by the beard and went, "That's Bob." But we have a lot of fun on the river, and we have a lot of fun with our friends up there. And when we went to the casino to put a demonstration on, this is the unit right here. We'll be showing you guys out back here in just a minute. we showed it there, and we showed they had this tall guy with stilts running around, and this gal right here wanted to get her picture taken, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, you run into some weird people. And here's what 8 ounces of the fine gold looks like. This is the smiley, and that's what I was showing the guy at the casino. And here's another bunch of gold that we got. It looks like a lot, but there's not really a whole lot here. There's about 1 ounce of gold there. But you got water in the bottles, and anybody that's handled gold before knows it makes it look a lot better. Okay, this is 4 ounces and 11.5 pennyweight that I got with a pygmy thing. Now this is all pygmy gold right here. That's my genuine silver spoon that I would beat. It's a brass spoon that's been silver plated. You want the old piece of part of a silver, set of dishes or utensils and stuff. But anyway, the brass you can take and lay it on with your hammer, and you can beat it to a nice bead to go into a crevice to pick the gold out. But the pygmy, I used it to get all of this gold, because you could suck it right out of the crevice once you hit it with the air hammer. Splits the crevice open, pops the rocks out, and then you got the gold. And that's the reason the guy down in Yuma, or down in Australia, wants it. And this is Fran's gold. This is just a part of what she has, but that's hers. And she says, "That's my gold." She has, you missed the other hand. The other hand had a 10-ounce bottle of gold in it, and this was okay. Yeah, and that's it. The end. Anyway, I'm sorry we had such a problem with the computer, but I couldn't get this bling thing to work, but I'm not sorry. Rick, how do you like your picture, buddy?
That's pretty good milk.
Oh. Anyway,
That was Fran's birthday.
I got people ask me about my writing. I got starting writing books after I moved up north, and of course I've been writing, for the mining journal and stuff. But you got to remember that I worked out at Edwards for 50 years, okay? And you got to understand that out there I spent most of my time writing performance reports for people, how wonderful they were, and then how much money we needed to do the projects and so on. So it's quite understandable then, when I finally quit the days, that I would start writing fiction novels. So anyway, that's, so here's what I got in the line of books that I've written so far, and I've got a few more, in the oven, so to speak. But I enjoy writing, and I enjoy people, enjoy my life pretty good right now. So these are the 3 books that predominantly we brought the most of them down here, because this was my first gold mining book. This was the one that includes all the old funny stories and one thing, and the songs and so forth. And this is my bio right here, my personal bio from day one that I can remember anyway.
And Tom, that middle one has a lot of the Mert Davis stories in there, right?
Yeah, the story of Mert Davis is in this book because a lot of the stuff that got me into gold mining involved what happened here. Mert was a really good friend of mine, and of course when we got into chili, she was going to cook in a chili cook-off up here, the World Championship chili cook-off. She came in 3rd one year, but she needed a PR man, and that was me. So I said, okay. I said, Mert, I'll do that, but we've got to know something about your chili and so on. So her recipe is in the book, and it's almost true except for the handful of black gunpowder that goes. Anyway, that's it. We had along. One of the things that I want to tell you about when in 1995 or 92, I guess it was, the Environmental Protection Agency in California decided that the brownback rattlesnake had to be put on the endangered species list because the numbers were getting really low. Amador County was the one with the home of the brownback rattlesnake. So, and Warren Camp is in Amador County. So guess what? Here, the only rattlesnakes that I'm killing in camp are brownback rattlesnakes. And so, I hear they say that Jack Green is coming down. He's the guy he's a local ranger, and he's bringing one of his Boy Scouts with him or whatever he were. Anyway, and I heard they were going to be in camp, so I ran down from where we were working upriver to try to catch him. But I didn't get there in time. He'd gone downriver. Well, I went down to the forks in the river I showed you earlier, and his Boy Scout buddy was there doing measuring temperatures in the water. So I asked him, I said, what is this crap I hear about? You know, you're putting this brownback rattlesnake on the endangered species list. He says, now, whoa, wait a minute. He says, you got to understand the numbers are getting so low that the people are getting really upset about it, and you will be charged a $500 fine if you're caught killing a rattlesnake that's under 2 feet long, a brownback rattlesnake. I said, you guys are crazy. You're crazy. I gotta put the rattlesnakes away almost 4 or 5 times during the summer. I gotta kill these rattlesnakes, and almost all of them are under 2 feet. He says, well, Tom, I hate to tell you this, but if you're seen killing one, we are obligated by oath and by law to cite you for killing. And I says, you guys are crazy. Where's Jack? She says, he's downriver. I said, okay, I'll go down there and talk to him, because this is idiocy. I have people and dogs and everything running through camp. We can't afford to have rattlesnakes like that in camp. And all the rattlesnakes that we've seen are brownback rattlesnakes. So I go downriver, and I hit the curve in the river where the water had come in and washed out. We had a whole grove of pine trees, there's young pines, and the water had come in and washed the sand off the roots, you know. And so when I took people downriver, I always told them, I said, be careful, because this is a shady spot, and you could encounter a rattlesnake in here, amongst these roots. You wouldn't see it. So I saw Jack. He's about 50 yards away from me, and I yelled at him, hey, Jack. And he says, and Jack waved back at me, and then all of a sudden, right in front of me is a big old rattlesnake. And I mean, I am petrified. I mean, any of you that's been close to a rattlesnake, you know what it's like. And my foot's in the air practically, and I reached down and grabbed that root, and I took that root and started beating that rattlesnake with his hand. And I'm beating him and beating him and beating him and beating him. And old Jack is running toward me now. And I'm soaking wet, man. I finally got that rascal taken care of, and I'm stomping on his head. When here comes Jack, and he walks up, and he says, my God, Tom, he says, God, I hate to do this. I said, Jack, come on. You don't have to sight me. That sucker's 5 feet long. Look at him, man. He says, Tom, I'm not sighting you for that one. I'm sighting you for the little one you grabbed up and beat him to death. I never told you that the coal miners tell the truth. Anyway, this was great time having with you guys. But anyway, that's the story. I took it to Death Valley, and with the cattle over here running the liars contest. Why, I told that story that night at the big, the big encampment in November. And I won the prize. I mean, they gave me the first prize. You know, I never heard a story like that. This wonderful story. I said, well, yeah. I said, but I can't accept the trophy. I'm sorry, I can't do that. He said, what? This is one of the best stories we ever. What do you mean? I said, well, it says right in here that this is an amateur contest and I'm a professional liar. That's the truth. That's the story. Okay, folks, we got a little demo for you back here. Those of you would like to see it.
He's got his music to play in the background. He's got Mama Mert's song and some other tropical gold mining songs to listen to. And so please take your time to do that. We also have our Kern Antelope Historical Society books. And we've got Gretchen, which is the gold mining one that goes with that.
It's right here.
Actually, it's not about gold mining. It's about the history, and I didn't read it until I don't know, earlier this year, because I thought it was about gold mining, and I thought, well, I can do that later. But it's about the history of the Kern Antelope Historical Society and
All the
some
different mines in the area.
Doreen, Burton, Settles family. It's really a neat book.
Okay, and if you are a Historical Society member, those books are 25% off.
Yes.
So they're a great deal. Tom's books were $10, right, Tom?
Yeah, I'm selling them all at my cost. I don't have to make money off my friends. I'm sorry.
If you were to buy them on Amazon, they'd be $15 to $20. So take advantage of them now and have them autograph them. And,
Yeah, sure.
we so appreciate.
Across the board at $10 a piece. All okay.
Yeah.
Vaughn, do we want them to take their food home?
Take any food you brought home. Fran will be working hard in the back running the sluice box. It's a great opportunity to do that, and feel free to stay as long as you'd like. So.
Anyway, the books that I have over here are, like I said, just let them go at $10.
Yeah.
Amazon, all that stuff, that's good.
Introduce them? No, I didn't. I wanted to have gravel that got to go in. Right, the gold is. I'm trying. Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
What's the way to go? I'm trying to say 19 times heavier.
16 times heavier than lead. 16.
16.
Or 19.
19. That's what I was thinking.
It's heavy. It goes right to the bottom. I mean, you can't take it out of the pan.
Thanks.
We live in Vegas. We do a lot of our gold mining out of Arizona. It's all flour gold, and I don't lose any of it. And it's so tiny, I can't even pick it up with. So you won't lose any of it. No way. Well, you know,
Stay right up there. In here, wash it out.
out, and then you have a little sucker bottle you can suck it up with.
They still
Yeah,
try
and
me.
then
I
you
didn't know
take
they
that.
were.
And then you put it in another little pan.
And Rick, I didn't know he was coming in.
You know,
And
I'd use a toothbrush and I just spray everything.
2 years since we've seen you.
Pardon me?
2-3 years since we've seen you.
Yeah,
And I had to put up with you 2 or 3 years.
Oh, dang.
yeah,
I mean, it got gray over those years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lost your beard.
Yeah, I lost my beard and I got heavier. So.
Yeah, that too.
You know when Tom was talking about taking the air on the tanks, the reserve tanks? Perry used to hate it because whenever we had to move a rock, I'd always go, I'd see him start choking for air, trying to get to the surface. Rocks are half the weight in the water.
Okay, so what we're going to do now?
No, you were never up there when we were up there.
I'm going to clean it out.
He was
What is that black stuff out?
This
up here is rubber.
Come along,
I think he did that. He liked that more than finding gold. When Perry and I were in the feather, when we first cut the feather,
cut a few of the bigger rocks.
100 feet across. And so we
Keep
started
them out
on one.
of the
We
pan
didn't know
that I have to pan out.
We couldn't really bob and gal. We couldn't go over the top of frames. So we started cutting. Well, we got
And now you can see the gold there and up in here.
Yeah, you hear the ting, ting, ting.
Oh, yeah.
The guy Perry points over.
So it's in the black and up here on this side. Yeah, now there's some laying up in here, yeah. Yeah, it's getting a little dark. They hate the light up there, but it's not.
Perry's really good. So whenever we take a breath, go ahead. Before I pick up a rock, grab it in the green.